Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to live streaming in our sanctuary. Welcome to the year 2021. I'm the Reverend Roger Peltier, and this is Worship Associate John Hickey. On behalf of our senior minister, the Reverend Liz Lerner-McClay, we offer you the warmest of welcomes to all of our community, both near and far. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. For our invocation this morning, I offer my interpretation of Dan Baker's What Happy People Know. This is happiness, bittersweet, often broken, a poem sometimes left unspoken, full of longing and opportunity missed, made wise by sorrows that never last, a promise to ourselves from deep in the past, a future with fears that never arrive. This is happiness, this moment, this now, this peace. Friends, as we start the new year, I commend to you the promise of hope and happiness. This is the day we have been given. Let us rejoice in it.
Hello and welcome. My name is John Hickey, and I will be your worship associate this morning. If you have a chalice or a candle at home, light it now as we say these words. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path toward harmony, justice, and hope for all. Thinking of making our own days glad, let us sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, for we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with thanks and praise. For all that is our life, for sorrows we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with thanks and praise. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad.
Our reading today is from words from our choir member Mel Shelley's Mending the Soul. When the singing and cheering have ended, when the lights in the sky have gone dark, when the movers and shakers stop, when most folks are back in their lives, the real work of soul mending begins. To find all the lost, to repair all the families, to heal the sick, the disappointed, the broken, the despairing, to take care of the caring, to comfort the grieving, to feed the hungry, to teach the thirsty, to nourish the spirit, to grow smart and strong and tireless and selfless, to restore justice, to call home the disinherited, to employ the willing, to encourage the eager, to renew the faith, to reimagine hope, to redistribute love, to cherish understanding, to rebuild bridges, to rebalance the earth, to revitalize the nations, to celebrate the world, to cultivate peace among all peoples, and always, always, always to make music with our hearts.
We're going to move into the time of sharing our joys and our sorrows. And I want to invite you to participate in this ritual by emailing your joy or your sorrow by 12 noon on any Saturday in this time of year when there is so much influx and so much need. We are happy to hear from you. A candle of joy. For those of you following the saga of my friend Russell, who had a major heart attack and a major stroke and found himself on life support, only to be unplugged from life support, he's now in a nursing home with only some short-term memory damage. This was our Christmas miracle, and we're glad that he's doing so well. A candle of sorrow and of sympathy for former First U board member John Simmons on the sudden death of his mother last week, which comes after the death of his father earlier this year. Cards would be very welcome. My friends, let us rest in the gladness that we have each other to bring our joys and our sorrows. I promise you, it makes all the difference. I'd like to invite us to join our hearts and minds in the spirit of prayer and meditation. After I share these words from Reverend Fred Small, we will hold silence together. If you've lost someone this year, please stand or raise your hand or in some way acknowledge your loved one. The silence will end with the Tibetan singing bowl playing. I'd like to invite you to relax. Feel your bodies in the place you're in. Take a deep breath. And again. To all that is chaotic in you, let there come a silence. Let there be a calming of the clamoring, a stilling of the voices that have laid claim on you, that have made a home in you, that go with you even to the sacred places, that will not let you feel the grace that fashioned you. Let depart all that keeps you distracted and diminished, fearful. Let there be an opening into the quietness beneath the chaos, where you will find peace and the joy that shimmers in the storm. Amen.
days are here again. Your cares and troubles are gone. There'll be no more from now on, from now on. Happy days are here again. The skies above are so clear again. So let's sing a song of cheer again. Happy times, happy nights, happy days are here
Dear ones, I hope my slightly late pastoral holiday letter finds you happy and healthy. Indeed, I pray for it. What a year it's been, right? I watched with curious and strange feelings as the ball began to drop in Times Square the other night, signaling the start of the new year. Hello, 2021, and goodbye, 2020. Good riddance. I had heard so many people saying those sentiments so often, I really worried that everybody thought a whole year's worth of strife would simply end and change all in one day. But too much has happened, terrific and terrible. This was the year we hoped would give us 2020 vision, but instead gave us stinging tears. Right on January 1st, we watched Australia burning, and it took a clarion call from a teenaged girl, Greta Thunberg, to bring climate change back to the top of the agenda for world leaders convened at the Davos summit. Meanwhile, America's world leader was facing impeachment. We learned phrases like Brexit, Britain's attempt to deal with racism, which became outstripped by Megxit, Harry and Meghan's attempt to deal with racism. Then, horribly, horribly, the words, "I can't breathe," were seared into our minds and our collective consciousness with the death of George Floyd, signaling the whole world's attempt to deal with racism. But it's a pernicious problem, that racism, as we know, both inspiring and intimidating. We saw people in cities the world over say no more. Black Lives Matter. They say when too much pressure builds, something has to blow. And so it was with the riots and protests taking place. You know, it was never said, but this was all happening at a time and place that the world was just beginning to really realize, really grasp the concept of our interconnectedness. We youth sometimes forget too. This was the year of COVID-19. Back then, we reveled in our differences. Right now, God revealed our sameness and our smallness. For the first time in most of our lives, we witnessed something so big and vast and deadly that it touched all of us all at once. We figured it out. Indeed, we are all one in our human need, in our racism, in our fear that there is not enough, In What Happy People Know, Dan Baker says the root of all unhappiness lies in this fear of not enoughness, which was expressed in our fighting about democracy and hoarding toilet paper. And so we trudged through the year with clenched bowels and pursed lips, wearing masks that completely obliterated every smile. Only fearful eyes abound. We began to question why is this happening to us? Google said in a year that tested everyone around the world, why was the most searched word in 2020? We didn't find all the answers, but we kept asking why. We had a need to learn, seeking clearer vision, needing understanding. It isn't any wonder then that by the time New Year's Eve arrived, I felt only numb, like many of you. Welcome to 2021, when still we shelter in place, 6 feet of space, cover the face, and wash those hands. The ball caught in my throat. Happy New Year? Really? I think not. At a time when we would be considering healthy resolutions, we're still anxious about the likelihood of Trump leaving the White House. That's why this pastoral letter is so important. Because after all we've been through, we are still suffering all states of depression, anxiety, grief, and loss. This affects our health, it affects our spirits, it affects how we live our lives. But listen, we've been here before, and we can get through this. In 1965, Barbara Streisand sang the song "Happy Days Are Here Again" at the inauguration of the newly elected Lyndon B. Johnson. But you may remember, Johnson actually stepped into the presidency in 1963 with the awful assassination of John F. Kennedy. Americans felt lost then, too. The country was devastated. The whole world grieved and mourned much like it does now. But Johnson held us steady. We made progress, gaining civil rights. We fell back with the loss of Martin Luther King Jr. I'm sure this was akin to our recent losses of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and my one-time dinner companion, the Congressman John Lewis. But my people, we did survive, and eventually we thrived. With Streisand's siren song for happy days, not as a way of chasing rainbows, but as an ironic plea for better times, we began to find the way to happiness. That's what we need to do today. That's what I pray we will do today, to begin to find our way into 2021 with more happiness. Now is the time to get happy, to make resolutions that bring joy to our lives, to lighten and enliven our spirits, to bring back our smiles, to laugh often and to listen to laughter more. There is an ancient Japanese laughing ritual initiated annually by local farmers as a way of forgetting their life's hardships. In it, 3 hearty laughs are offered up. The first is in gratitude for the passing year, the second in prayer for the present coming year, and the last is for clarity, a laugh to clear the mind and heart. Blessed are those who take laughing seriously. And it seems many in Cambridge would agree with that idea. It turns out Harvard's most enrolled course, even beating out Intro to Economics, was positive psych, where one could learn how to live, as the catalog said, a fulfilling and flourishing life, to learn about happiness. And why wouldn't we all want to learn to be happy, especially now? I can tell you that happy people enjoy better health, more security, and strong relationships. Well, why wouldn't they be happy with all that, you might ask? Only people aren't happy because of those things. They learn to be happy despite them. I'm reminded of all those New Year's from so many years back that I was resolved to lose weight, to exercise more, to quit smoking. And I would write these down in my little day planner, and I would carry them with me. And as each new year rolled around, my list stayed unchanged. But was I unhappy with myself? No. My resolutions weren't ends to happiness, just improvement. I know there are several self-help gurus that want to teach us how to be happy. They often provide these lists that say things like, 1, happiness lies at the intersection between pleasure and meaning. Or 2, happiness is mostly dependent on our state of mind. Or 3, express gratitude whenever possible. These ideas might be worthy of our consideration, especially gratitude. Only I'm more interested in telling you about the theology of happiness, not the psychology. Holocaust survivor, humanitarian, and philosopher Viktor Frankl said, "You make your own happiness." And that, dear ones, is the secret to happiness. That is the secret. It's about what you do with what you've got. And it's as simple or as complicated as you make it. The great 20th century UU theologian Alfred Whitehead posited that the secret of happiness lies in knowing this: we find the greatest joy not in getting, but in expressing who we are. There are tides in the ocean of life, and what comes in depends on what goes out. The currents flow inward only when there is an outlet. Empty your lungs, and you will breathe. Become exhausted, and you will rest. Our gladness is not in taking and holding, but in doing, in striving, in building, in living. The happy person is the one who lives the life of serving, of giving, of love. Now, Whitehead is basically saying the very same thing that my very dear friend of 102 years old taught me many years ago. She always said, her name was Anna Mae Connolly, by the way, now of blessed memory, who always said, to have a friend, you must first be a friend. To receive, you must give. To know love, you must serve. To be happy, you must make others happy. To be happy, you must make others happy. Easy to say, right? Not so easy to do, especially if we're clogged with fear. In the UU hymn number 17, Every Night and Every Morn, we sing, joy and woe are woven fine, clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with silken twine. In the interest of this message, I wanted to know if we really could find any joy in the midst of all the negativity darkening our days. To hold joy and woe in tension or with intention. Queen Elizabeth II reminded us in her Christmas speech that every year we herald the holidays by turning on the lights, because light does more than bring a festive mood. Light brings hope. So I decided I was going to test out the theory. I wanted to bring more light into the world. I did this by sending light to a few people that I think are already bright lights and mailed them a special candle. These candles came from a friend who had started a new home business to cope with COVID economics. The Hope Street Candle Company, as it is known, provides high-end candles with a commitment to a green footprint. Their logo is RI's flag with the hope and anchor, the one in our very sanctuary, derived from Hebrews, which thoroughly translates to hope we have as an anchor to the soul. Early on in this little experiment, I was already feeling happy to know that I was sending light and hope into today's reality. Then I began to receive texts and calls from the recipients. People were very happy with the candles, which definitely made me feel happy. One person received the candle as a blessing of the new year. Another is using the candle in their chalice circle. Another received the candle and a stimulus check on the same day, so bought more candles and sent more light into the world. Someone received the candle after suffering the death of her brother and burns the candle in remembrance. One person received the candle just after hearing that both her parents had contracted COVID. Her candle burns in hope for their swift recovery. It's turned out to be true, that old saying, happiness is as happiness does. I happily sent 25 candles of hope and light, and my heart is definitely happy. And with that, I commend to you the spiritual practice of cultivating joy and happiness, because the world needs your radiance. And so do you. Whatever the enabling conditions that make you flourish, you don't need a Harvard course to get happy. You are what you do. Find pleasure, engagement, and meaning in serving others. be a source of light and hope. And my friends, in this new year, laugh 3 times. Once with praise, once with promise, and once with purpose. Amen. Thinking about today's offering, I couldn't find better words than the ones I saw on Facebook from Reverend Liz. Every year, maybe especially this year, First U has done powerful good in the world, stepping up our food mission work, finding countless ways to reach out and support people within and beyond the congregation, working to address institutional racism within and beyond ourselves, creating beauty, art, and worship under the strange and most unprecedented circumstances we've ever faced, showing up for each other, for this church, for all that should be. Whether it's a little or a lot, every gift counts. It's the power of all of us that makes a difference. Lots of causes have thousands and tens of thousands of donors, but First U depends on you, on your generosity. As we take this morning's offering, I thank you for all you give and all you do and all you are.
When lonely feelings chill the meadows of your mind, just think, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Beneath the deepest snows, the secret of a rose is merely that it knows you must believe in spring. Just as a tree is sure its leaves will reappear, it knows its emptiness is just the time of year. The frozen mountain dreams of April's melting streams, how crystal clear it seems you must believe in spring. You must believe in love and that it's on its way. Just as the sleeping rose awaits the kiss of May, so in a world of snow, of things that come and go, where what you think you know you can't be certain of, you must believe in spring and love.
I'd like to call your attention to 2 items of interest. We will be holding an online goods, services, and experiences auction and sale the first 2 weeks of February. Proceeds will benefit the church and one of our neighboring partners. Be thinking about what you might be able to donate for sale or for bids. And who do you know who might be able to donate? Call Nancy in the church office with questions. And secondly, the Path to Membership class is open to anyone who is interested in membership and learning more about First Unitarian and Unitarian Universalism. This 3-session course is a great opportunity for you to get to know us and for us to get to know you. Please contact Jen Nardone for information. The course will start on January 20th.
My friends, we have come to the words of our benediction, the good news. I want to remind you to log on to Coffee Hour on Zoom directly after this service. All are invited. Here is Don Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise of joy. May it be so with you, friends. Amen.
Let us extinguish our chalice with these words. We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.